In 2048, Earth faces severe overpopulation and a depletion of natural resources. To address this crisis, the government initiates a program aimed at genetically enhancing 14 soldiers to establish a new civilization on Titan, one of Saturn's moons. These volunteers and their families are relocated to a specially designated neighborhood on Titan, where they are provided with luxurious, cutting-edge homes. Among them is former pilot Rick, accompanied by his wife Abigail, a doctor, and their son Lucas, who leads the program. Dr. Collingwood harbors high expectations for Rick due to his past experience surviving alone in the Syrian desert after being shot down during his time in the Air Force, enduring 3 days without food or water. This history demonstrates Rick's resilience and adaptability. Both Rick and Abigail undertake this endeavor for the sake of their son's future. However, Abigail confides in Collingwood her concerns about Rick falling ill. Collingwood acknowledges this possibility but reassures her that proper aftercare will be sufficient. After the volunteers complete their relocation, they convene for their initial meeting with Collingwood to commence the treatment process. Collingwood begins with a presentation outlining the program's objectives, emphasizing Earth's dire condition and highlighting Titan as the only viable alternative with its unique atmosphere and primordial ecosystem. However, he elucidates the challenges posed by Titan's harsh environment, including methane rain, frigid temperatures, and an atmosphere unsuitable for human habitation. One volunteer voices concern about potential rejection of the genetic modifications, prompting Collingwood to explain the success of the clinical trials while acknowledging the inherent risks and the absence of guarantees for everyone's survival. Following the meeting, they receive card keys granting access to the base and proceed to the lab for the first of 300 scheduled injections over the upcoming weeks. Rick's family adapts to a new routine, albeit unremarkable. Lucas attends school, Abigail manages household affairs, and she spends time with Rick whenever permitted. Over the course of the treatments, the volunteers forge strong bonds and begin socializing outside the base, taking advantage of their proximity as neighbors to host frequent dinner parties and barbecues. Conversations sometimes veer into somber territory, with one volunteer expressing apprehension about the possibility of being barred from returning to Earth after the agreed-upon 2 years on Titan. The group is challenged to endure an extended period underwater without oxygen tanks, with Rick and Tally emerging as the last competitors. After joining his wife in the pool for some playful intimacy, Abigail interrupts their moment when she notices black veins on Rick's body. Rick is puzzled by the sudden appearance, but the discoloration vanishes just as quickly, prompting Abigail to set aside her concerns temporarily. Days later, the volunteers undergo their first surgical procedure. Ryan, the wife of one volunteer, seeks solace from Abigail, expressing her fears and doubts about her husband's suitability for the mission. Abigail reassures her, emphasizing the importance of the volunteers' role in preserving humanity and securing a future for their children. Following a successful surgery, Rick returns home in good health, much to Abigail's relief. However, she remains apprehensive about potential side effects outlined in the manual provided to them. The experiments continue, including running with masks, simulating Titan's atmosphere, and enduring prolonged swims in freezing water. During one testing session, Rick and Tally notice hair loss, a shared concern they discuss in the showers. Suddenly, they are alarmed by a woman experiencing a seizure and vomiting blood. Despite medical intervention, she tragically succumbs, marking the group's first loss. During dinner, Abigail observes all the volunteers exhibiting blackening veins intermittently. Later, Rick experiences vomiting blood, prompting Abigail to urge him to rest while she attends to the aftermath, discreetly collecting a blood sample from him. While securing the house, she discovers hidden cameras, leading to a chilling realization that they are under constant surveillance. As Rick continues to use the pool, he notices his skin peeling, yet remains unperturbed. Abigail, however, becomes increasingly concerned as she observes his deteriorating condition, compounded by hair loss. Upon examining Rick's blood under a microscope, Abigail discovers it turning black, indicating a troubling development. Subsequently, the volunteers undergo a major procedure to enhance their vision akin to a cat's ability to see in the dark. Although the surgery is successful, Rick requires assistance while his eyes heal. One night, Rick experiences excruciating pain accompanied by bleeding eyes, necessitating urgent medical attention. Abigail confronts Collingwood, expressing suspicion about something living inside Rick and her awareness of the hidden cameras. Collingwood explains that the cameras were mandated by the Pentagon for security, and his blindness is part of the process, assuring her that Rick will recover in a few days. Despite her lingering doubts, Collingwood dismisses her concerns, instructing her to return home. As Abigail begins packing clothes for Rick, sirens blare outside, drawing her attention to the army surrounding Zane's home. Despite being unable to approach, she witnesses the harrowing sight of a mutated Zane hurling Ryan through a window, resulting in her instantaneous death. Amidst the chaos, the soldiers breach the house and fatally shoot Zane. Back at the base, Abigail tends to Rick and hears more soldiers arriving. Recognizing that Collingwood will be preoccupied, she seizes the opportunity to clandestinely obtain Rick's card key and investigate further. Evading security measures, she infiltrates Collingwood's office and discovers files revealing that the volunteers' DNA is being fused with animal DNA to propel them toward the next stage of evolution, termed humanitarians by Collingwood. Meanwhile, Collingwood engages in a tense meeting with Colonel Solano and NASA representatives who are advocating to shut down the program, citing its unproven scientific basis and the increasing violence among the volunteers. When Rick is discharged home, Collingwood accompanies him, assuring that his vision will return within 24 hours, attributing Zane's demise to a miscalculation of the brain's ability to process enhanced senses. However, a subsequent surgery could rectify the situation. Abigail confronts Collingwood, demanding the truth, prompting him to reluctantly admit to the animal DNA injections and the inherent uncertainties. Despite her dismay, Rick undergoes the procedure and upon removing the bandages, confirms his restored vision. He shaves his head to preempt any bald spots and marvels at his enhanced night vision, prompting him to request Collingwood to proceed with the procedure for the remaining volunteers while their families stay behind. However, the surgeries yield numerous complications, resulting in the deaths of most volunteers. Ultimately, only Rick and Tally survive, emerging unscathed. The following day, Andrew, Abigail, and Lucas visit Rick and Tally, only to be stunned by their transformation into mutated beings that communicate through tactile contact and inaudible low frequencies. Rick touches the glass, separating them, eliciting tears from Abigail, worsened when Collingwood presents her with Rick's wedding ring. With Tally and Rick scheduled to depart for Titan soon, they are granted temporary reprieve at home. However, Rick struggles with human clothing, inadvertently injuring Abigail when she attempts to assist him, causing her to recoil from his touch in fear. Rick finds solace in the pool, where he spends much of his time feeling more at ease than within the confines of the house. One night, Abigail witnesses Tally entering the garden with bloodied hands, prompting Rick to communicate with her using tentacles emanating from their fingers. As the army converges on the neighborhood, Abigail seeks refuge upstairs with Lucas. Soldiers tranquilize Tally, but she retaliates, killing one before succumbing to their gunfire. Rick dispatches the soldiers with his newfound strength, attempting to drown one in the pool before Abigail intervenes, prompting Rick to flee. Colonel Solano orders a manhunt for Rick despite Collingwood's plea to spare him due to his research value. Abigail and Lucas are relocated to the base for safety, but Abigail departs upon realizing Rick's whereabouts. Discovering him at their special spot, Abigail extends her hand as a gesture of trust, culminating in a kiss moments before they are apprehended by army helicopters. Regaining consciousness at the base, Abigail learns from Collingwood that the Pentagon is closing the program due to the risk posed by Earth's atmosphere to their altered bodies. They cannot coerce Rick to leave, as it may prove fatal. Abigail is tasked with convincing Rick to depart voluntarily. When she visits Rick, Collingwood urges her to administer a shot of quetiapine to induce a chemical lobotomy, erasing Rick's memories. Reluctant but persuaded, Abigail fumbles the injection, buying time as the soldier retrieves it from the floor. However, it becomes evident that Rick was feigning unconsciousness as he swiftly dispatches the soldier tasked with preparing him for departure. Abigail, having substituted Celine for the injection, escapes the cage and orchestrates a plan with Freya. As soldiers close in, Rick utilizes his enhanced senses to evade capture. Abigail retrieves Lucas with Freya's guidance, reuniting with a wounded Rick. Despite his injuries, Abigail and Lucas embrace him to reaffirm their trust. As Freya searches for medicine, soldiers converge on their location. Collingwood threatens violence, but Solano intervenes, refusing to harm unarmed civilians. Facing mutiny, Collingwood is apprehended, allowing Abigail to embrace Rick, reinforcing their bond and cherished memories. In the aftermath, Abigail and Freya transition to ethical research roles within the Titan II project. Meanwhile, Rick embarks on his journey to Titan, discovering his new body possesses wings, enabling him to soar through his newfound home. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Bye.